to the show. Tribute Tuesday. Great George Clinton. Hey, appreciate it, Stewies, man. Y'all rolling with your boy. Late afternoon edition to the show. And you know what? I'm sure that a lot of y'all probably were in the same position that I was in. Like, for the Super Bowl and for the national championship game, like, they should have, you know, like national holidays the day after, because everybody for those particular events, man, gets slizzard for the most part. And I did. I mean, I'm not going to even deny it, man. I got so slizzard last night, man, rooting for Clemson, man. A nice little setting, a lot of friends and people hanging out, man. And it was a great little scene, and I was feeling it last night. And I had a couple too many to drink. And so I couldn't get up this morning and do the damn show. I could have done it, but I couldn't have done it the right way. And I don't want to half change y'all. I mean, y'all are paying subscribers to the show. Right. Speaking of which, make sure you become a subscriber to the Doug Stewart Show, a premium subscriber, by going to thedougstewartshow.com. For only $4 a month, man. You get to hear all 3 hours of the Doug Stewart Show Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Time, anytime you want, at your leisure, as well as episodes of Chop It Up. We got another great guest lined up for Chop It Up. Last week, we had on Dorsey Levens. So, I mean, real good stuff, man. Support the show. Support real sports talk. Support real sports talk. Support real talk. And we're doing big things around here, man. Go to thedougstewartshow.com. Become a premium member. Yes, sir. All right, so let me. All right, now follow me on this, and we're going to get back to the chat. But follow me on this. I'm going to give a little props to the Clemson Tigers, man, and kind of like a feat that I think a lot of people really aren't aware of. If you look at the teams that are usually successful in college football, they're really spread out over like 10 different states. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. First of all, you have to acknowledge that teams are usually, you know, they usually are loaded with players from that particular state. Like we've been talking a lot about, you know, some of the players that left the state of Georgia to play for other programs. But for the most part, the rosters are usually filled out with most of the players, the vast majority, larger percentage of the players being from that state. So that there's this pride thing that comes along with rooting for a particular college football team as opposed to an NFL team. You know, an NFL team has got players, you know, from all over the country. It really don't have any significance, any tie-in to that particular state as far as the number of players on that team. But in college, like if you're looking at the Georgia roster, the majority of the players from, you know, any particular state is from Georgia. You know, Clemson, the majority of the players are from Clemson. Looking at the teams or the states that have won national championships, if you look at California with USC, Texas with the University of Texas, Florida with Florida State, and Miami, Ohio, these are all states that have a population like the highest populations in this country as far as states. Then you've got Ohio with Ohio State. You got Georgia with the Georgia Bulldogs, even though they hadn't won a national championship in over 35 years. They won it in 1980. You got Washington State that won a national championship back in the early 90s. So you got California, Texas, Florida, New York, or not New York, Georgia. Michigan is in the top 15 as far as populations, and Washington. The thing about them, though, is they have a huge population, all right? Then the second tier, you have South Carolina, who is like 23rd as far as population, and then you have Alabama, which is right below them, okay? So these other states, California, Texas, Florida, Georgia, they have these big populations, so they have more players to choose from. So ultimately, you would think that they would be better because they have, once again, more players to choose from. South Carolina, man, South Carolina's got 4.9 million people. And then right under them is Alabama with 4.8. And then if you look after them, you've got Oklahoma, which really I kind of take points away from Oklahoma because Oklahoma's kind of like one of those teams, the Sooners, where they have their pick of the litter in the state of Oklahoma. There's not like in South Carolina, there's Clemson and there's South Carolina that's battling for pretty much the same players. They kind of split players. That's why it's such an incredible thing that Clemson can win a national championship from a state that's small in which they're splitting players with another major program. Like there's not really one, right now there may be a little bit because of Dabo and the job that they're doing as far as recruiting, but historically Clemson and South Carolina kind of split the best players from the state. Like there's not really one dominant team like Georgia gets the players that they want over Georgia Tech. It's not really like that in South Carolina. And then you have Arkansas, and I'm trying to look at other teams, or states with a low population that's won national championships. Louisiana is kind of like in the same conversation with Alabama and South Carolina. So bottom line, the point I'm trying to make is for a state that's in the middle rankings as far as population to win a national championship, when they have to constantly go up against the USCs of the world, the Texas of the world, all those teams in Florida, and Ohio State, big states with a big population, and they still come away with the best talent to win a national championship and beat your Notre Dames of the world as well. It's just an incredible feat, man. It's incredible. Think about it now. I just told you, last census taken, the state of South Carolina had right under 4.9 million people. California has 39 million people in the state. Do you hear what I'm saying here? California has 39 million people in the state. Once again, USC gets the pick of the litter. Like USC, once again, USC is one of those places and one of those schools that they may have a couple other schools in the state, but the Trojans get their pick of players. Stanford gets some good players. Cal gets some good players every once in a while. But pretty much if you're a five-star player in a state with 39 million people, USC gets you to come there for the most part, right? South Carolina is basically picking from 4.9 million people, and the school from South Carolina, Clemson, won a national championship. Praise God. That's an incredible feat. That's an incredible feat. Now, listen, I'm not saying that we don't have players, a couple players here and there from Georgia and North Carolina and Florida, but the bulk of the roster are kids from the state of South Carolina, just like with any program. And all I'm saying is California has 39 million people to pick from in building up their roster of state players. South Carolina has 4.9. And so, theoretically, if you look at the numbers and the availability of great players in your state, USC should pretty much win every single year. They should win the national championship, or they should at least be in the running every single year. They got 39 million people in that state, and South Carolina got right under 5, and we still win the national championships. You know why? Because we got straight athletes. We got straight athletes. Yeah. We got straight athletes. Number 2 behind them is Texas with 27 million. Florida got 20 million. And once again, the plethora of great players in the state of Florida, but they have a real tough issue that's starting to be very prevalent now, is they got too many good schools. They got a ton of great players, and there's probably more players, good players per capita in Florida than anywhere else per state. But you got Miami, you got Florida, you got Florida State. Then you got South Florida and Central Florida trying to pick some players up. And then you got the, other players, other schools around the country, cherry picking some of your best players as well. So Florida, it's going to get harder before it gets better. But the point I wanted to make, man, is that I just think it's an incredible feat when you look at the population of the state that we got to pick from, man. And for Clemson to win 2 national championships in 35 years, 35 years is a long, long time. But I still think it's a great, great accomplishment, man. Ball award to the Clemson Tigers. Yeah. All right, when we get back from the break, all I'm going to do is read chat. Get some of your thoughts on the national championship game. I know we got a lot of pissed off Bama fans still listening to the show. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. Yeah. It'll be all right. When we get back from the break, I'm going to read some of your chat. Don't go away. The Doug Stewart Show.
Driven, lyricists chasing infinite time and space. No breaks to place, finish it. Loving it, living it, this life till the end of it. Life's every given moment, we hold it and own it. Passionate, driven, lyricists chasing infinite time and space. No breaks to place, finish it. Loving it, living it, this life till the end of it. Life's every given moment, we hold it and own it.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and earth. Spoke light into existence, formed earth as our birth. Life's worth, unspoken price you cannot pay. Accumulated through your influence night and day. I pray a prayer of fulfillment till this world reaches brilliant. Our increase, resilience speaks loud, we don't feel it. We numb for the thrills, get drugged up and kill. It's not why we real, the truth soon revealed.
I stay my nose to the grind and rhyme like clockwork. Over beats that are hard with drums to neck jerk. Got a smirk on my face, check the twinkle in my eye. We bring the noise to the streets like it's New Year's Live. And hi-fi stereo, we coming louder than rock. It's that homegrown talent from these LA city blocks. Hard knocks, hard times, these raps are soul driven. The passion for this music is the reason why we live in.
Passionate, driven, lyricists chasing infinite time and space. No breaks to place, finish it. Loving it, living it, this life till the end of it. Life's every given moment, we hold it and own it. Passionate, driven, lyricists chasing infinite time and space. No breaks to place, finish it. Loving it, living it, this life till the end of it. Life's every given moment, we hold it and own it.
Fools don't even know. My evil Knievel of people is daring, not sharing the road. And even though my motocross is thought by some as the tortoise, we're well prepared to beat the hair without no one to support us. We put it out there. We risk it, fight like Seabiscuit, like what we write, then bite, cause we flip this strike at the source of the pain. Prefontaine, your crew, world premiering the change right here today.
Fist in the sky, raised high to symbolize strength similar to a herd of elephants. My movement, power, a human wrecking ball, breaking sound barriers, a voice to